All right, it's time for dulse soda scones. Start by soaking your dulse seaweed while you gather your other ingredients. 450 grams of white flour, 1 teaspoon bicarbonate of soda, 1 teaspoon salt, and 350 to 75 milliliters of buttermilk, and 1 egg beaten. Now, you're supposed to sieve the flour and the soda bicarbonate and salt into a mixing bowl. I've never done this before. I don't bake much. And of course, I went against the recipe and I used whole wheat flour. And you can totally see how the husks separated. And I thought that was really cool. And of course, I opted to keep them because I just love having nutritional value in my food. I prefer whole wheat pasta and bread and all that now. Anyway, once you've done the sieving, chop up your dulse. I was not worried about any kind of uniformity here, just making enough pieces so they spread out evenly in the dough. And then, once you've finished that, add it to your mixing bowl. And the recipe says to mix it with your fingers. So I did that. It felt funny. And I made a little bowl type thing in the middle to pour the buttermilk. And I didn't use all of it right away because depending on your flour and stuff, you want to see if there's enough moisture, and you can always add more. So yeah, again, mixing with fingers. I thought the texture was kind of cool. You want to get to the point that the dough feels light and pliable, and just slowly start working it into a bit of a ball. My dough started to feel dry, so I did end up adding a little bit more of that buttermilk, all of it specifically. And yeah, it was actually really fun to squish my fingers around in dough. If you don't bake much, this is definitely the fun part. And you can see it's taking shape. So once you've done that, take it onto a floured surface and work it a little bit, folding it from different sides. And you can see it's really starting to take a nice shape and start sticking to my fingers less. So then I put it on a cutting board, and we're going to beat that egg and then paint it on the dough ball. This is what makes it really nice and brown and crispy. Yeah, visually it makes a really big difference, and I think the flavor is a lot better too when you do that. But that's just from trying to bake maybe twice in my life. So I decided to make my scones a lot smaller. I divided my dough into 2 balls and then cut them into kind of scone shapes. And yeah, they're a little bit difficult to cut. They're a little bit sticky. Don't worry about that. They worked out just fine for me. I also chose to make 2 balls because I wanted to add apples to one and see how that went. And then you just stick them on your pan once they're in the shapes you want. Put them in the oven. They're going to be in there at 200 degrees Celsius or 400 Fahrenheit for about 20 to 25 minutes. And this is how they came out. This one has the little chunks of apple in it, and I loved the salty seaweed playing against the sweet apple. And I had one that was just seaweed with some scrambled eggs, and it was fantastic. I could totally eat that on a regular basis. So that's one way to add seaweed to your diet. Eat for joy and climate.